मजा आया।
Nice.
Not bad, not bad.
भाई यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? भाई यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? भाई ये कहाँ फंस गया भाई मैं? भाई ये क्या हो रहा है?
Saif Ali Khan and his choices are extremely interesting in the current environment of films because the man is not burdened by the expectations of fans and is literally on side quest doing whatever he creatively resonates with. The man has pivoted well throughout his career and has not been shy in doing ensemble casts, supporting or two hero roles throughout his journey, being one of the first commercial faces actually to recognize the rise and relevance of streaming platforms in India by starring in Sacred Games at a time where mainstream actors looked down upon it and jokingly remarked, "I heard Saif is doing TV." Kartavya, directed by Pulkit, was the venture that released this weekend, a Red Chillies production which stars Saif Ali Khan, Rasika, Dugal, Sanjay, Mishra, Manish, Chaudhari and shockingly Saurabh Dwivedi in major roles. Pulkit is a director whose previous film Bhakshak starring Bhumi Pednekar was extremely engaging, and I think in the last few years it also presented one of Bhumi Pednekar's best performances. With the same hope that Pulkit will bring the same type of quality, I tuned in for this film. The movie focuses on Pawan, played by Saif Ali Khan, who is a part of the police force in Jamli, a fictional city which I presume is modelled around western UP and Haryana. He is assigned the task to provide security to a travelling journalist, only for there to be a crossfire. Pawan's job is at stake, ensuring his superiors he will provide a charge sheet within 7 days in order to avoid getting suspended. While Pawan is dealing with such a professional crisis, his brother presumably runs away with his romantic partner, causing quite the ruckus within the panchayat as the union is between two people of different castes, and that is the biggest sin in the lives of regressive mortals. How Pawan tackles both these issues and how it ties into the influence of a godman, Anand Shri, played by Saurabh Dwivedi, forms the basic premise of Kartavya. This is a movie where I will present the good and underwhelming aspects to all of you, but I am also compelled to do a spoiler talk in the end because there are so many elements, especially its concluding moments, that frustrated me. So I have to express them to you in the end. Don't worry, I will provide you a timestamp and a countdown to when the spoilers start. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Kartavya on Netflix or not. The good. Social themes and atmosphere. Some of the elements that are expanded upon in this film are heartbreaking reminders of what we as a society find ourselves embroiled in. The casual nature with which characters speak about killing individuals merely on the basis of their pride being at stake brought chills to my spine. On how normalized violence has become while associating such a gruesome act in the same sentence as pride. The film does a commendable job in shedding light on the hypocrisy of individuals in a functioning society, expressing their support for the marginalized only till they are at a distance, but resorting to a state of panic or violence when the same problems come knocking at their door. Everyone is looking out for themselves, no one wants to be an activist or a martyr, for survival is even considered to be a luxury in the hostile environment we live in today. These moments, however, are so rare to find in this movie that you hope for the film to have more of a concentrated deep dive on such complex themes versus the half-baked nature and lazy solution that the movie concludes upon. The silver lining definitely is that the film has been shot brilliantly by legendary cinematographer Anil Mehta. Some of the shots genuinely made me wish that more Indian commercial movies that get theatrical distribution were shot in real and authentic locations. It's gritty, grimy, the dilapidated houses and the acres of sprawling farmlands all account for a brilliant backdrop for setting up an investigative thriller. Decent performances. One of the main reasons why a movie like Kartavya translating to duty irritates me is because you see the potential of the film and you hate that it never reaches its peak. It shows you glimpses, and those movies are more heartbreaking than the terrible ones because momentarily you feel like this can be something special. I say this because most of the performances of this movie are extremely praiseworthy. I'll get to the hiccups in the underwhelming aspects, but I must say that for the most part the ensemble cast is just top notch. Sanjay Mishra as Ashok simply fits like a glove, a man who seems to be as ancient as the worn down walls of the police station, having an idea of every nook and cranny in the neighborhood. He may not be physically capable, but he has his way of weaseling out clues, and his dynamic with Saif Ali Khan was genuinely endearing. Manish Chaudhari playing their superior Keshav genuinely got on my nerves, and I have come to the conclusion that Manish Chaudhary basically has a PhD in playing an absolutely harami boss ever since Rocket Singh Salesman of the Year. The despicable nature with which he casually casually eats while dismissing Pawan, the way he addresses him with this condescending attitude, Manish Chaudhary genuinely got under my skin, and that's a job well done. Zakir Hussain as Pawan's father and Rasika Dugal as Pawan's wife get little screen time, but they are extremely capable actors who do their parts well. I must really mention Yudhvir Ahlawat, who plays the role of Harpal. He is a boy who gets trapped in this case in the movie, and his eyes are so expressive, his body language exactly denotes a child who is overwhelmed and exhausted, and my heart went out to him. In his limited time, he had the ability to emotionally convey what a treacherous journey he may have had. I just wanted to especially mention him in the film. Despite minor hiccups in the accent and being 2 shades darker with the use of bronzer, I'll come to that later, I genuinely loved Saif Ali Khan in the role of Pawan. By the way, Saif is more agile in this movie than he was in Vikram Vedha, actually looking the part of a police officer who can even engage in some sprints of his own with his pearl white sports shoes. There are sequences of simmering anger, of deep contemplation, of dilemma of what's right and what is one's jurisdiction, where Saif really shines. I think he especially was brilliant in these key confrontation scenes where Pawan reaches a breaking point, expressing himself to not only his father but his superior too. Saif's evolution as an actor is genuinely inspiring, but it's not enough to save this extremely flawed film. The underwhelming aspects. Authenticity and accents. You may have heard me use the term soft landing approach when it comes to Ayushmann Khurrana movies. Complex themes of society are presented in a commercial lens so that it can be spoon-fed to a large audience. Similar to the same observations in the industry, there is a similar pattern to the language in which the film is communicated. The makers of Hindi movies often choose the balancing act of doing the bare minimum in terms of authenticity to something like Punjabi or Haryanvi, as the goal is to make you believe it is set in Punjab or Haryana respectively, but not alienate you so much where the language becomes tough to decipher. So you have 2 choices. Either you have Jaideep Ahlawat from Patal Lok, who essentially is a Haryanvi Jat who can in fluid fashion switch from Hindi to Haryanvi, or you have Randeep Hooda from Cat, who is such an obsessive actor and has such a crisp attention to detail, where the entire series is shot in Thet Punjabi. One is extremely popular because it's fluid, the other alienates the viewer because it's too pure. So Netflix uses the middle ground, and this is what annoys audiences because Haryanvi is beyond saying "Ke hai yo." So some people appreciate the effort, but some people believe, well, if you're doing it, do it well, or just don't do it. I would personally much rather appreciate the dialogues of the movie to be either in Hindi or you cast based on how appropriate the actors are for the milieu in which the film is set. Predictable and linear storytelling. One of the biggest crimes of this movie is that it is presented in a linear chronological structure, and this leads to little to no shocks as the investigation develops. I was blown away by how one could see the twist from a mile away. It was almost as if the makers were feeding us the twist, almost getting us ready for it, almost as if they were announcing it that in any minute what you are expecting will happen, and it does. The film is inundated with a lot of verbose storytelling. Manje, the act is happening on camera, but the character will tell you about the relationship they share with the scene partner and why they are doing what they are doing. When the reveals or shocking twists are to be shown as well, the makers will present the characters narrating how the events took place and then show the scenes side by side. The Mahabharata analogies, I believe, were shoehorned into the script and lacked gravity, and I was slightly feeling like a lot of the writing fell into the trap of what is mandated by some of these streaming platforms, where the streaming giants almost assume that you are distracted by your phones or are treating the content as ambient viewing, so one has to remind the viewer of what is happening on screen by announcing it. Doing is not enough, doing it and telling you about it is essential. Poor direction and shocking casting choices. I don't know whether it was just me, please tell me in the comments below, but did you feel like there were a lot of continuity issues in this movie? There were cases where I was watching the scene and the subsequent dialogue would present the characters in 2 completely different positions. There were instances where I had to almost rewind and see the scene again because the positioning of characters after dialogues was so off. These basic continuity issues are a crime when dealing with capable actors, but they are at their glaring worst when focusing on Saurabh Dwivedi as the godman Anand Shri. I'm all for unique and surprising casting decisions, but there is absolutely nothing intimidating about Saurabh in this film, and that is a huge sin for a movie that describes him as this influential evil entity. I mean, if the man wanted to start a Lullan Top interview out of nowhere, I wouldn't be surprised because I never bought into him being the influential godman. The man appears sparingly in this film, and I believe it's even a bigger crime as he is the ultimate ultimate villain, making me develop conspiracy theories on whether major scenes with him have been cut out of the film. The man has intimidating dialogues like "कुछ लोग सवाल के परे होते हैं," but you don't feel an iota of fear. The dialogue delivery is flat. Saurabh lacks eye contact with his scene partners. In one scene, it genuinely seemed like the actors have shot it separately and the makers have stitched it together. And in order to mask the flat delivery, most of Dwivedi's dialogues have been captured off his shoulder to save him from the embarrassment, and it baffles me that such a casting decision was taken while there are so many actors who would have done a splendid job with the same role. I'm all for experiments, but this just did not land. As the movie develops further, I think it takes too much on its plate, not really exploring themes with the weight that they deserved, and coming up with an extremely frustrating and half-baked solution by the end of it that compels me to do a spoiler talk. Not because I hated the film, but because I found the storytelling to be mediocre, predictable, and a project that had so much potential, especially when looking at the talented cast at their disposal. That was the spoiler-free review, but the spoilers start in. I was absolutely blown away by how naive Saif Ali Khan's character was in this movie. Not because he blindly trusted Sanjay Mishra's character. They had a friendship, I get it. But because he was so naive that he believed only Harpal has been killed in the process of blindly trusting Sanjay Mishra. When Saif Ali Khan gets to know that Sanjay Mishra has backstabbed him, he has this shocked expression when Sanjay Mishra reveals to him that his brother and his sister-in-law have been killed. If he had acted faster, he would have known that they are compromised the moment Anand Shree's goon told him that Sanjay Mishra has backstabbed him. But Saif has this shocked expression when getting to know that his brother and sister-in-law have been murdered, while that same sentiment was brewing throughout the film. And what is the solution of Pawan? The same Pawan giving us the analogies of the Mahabharata with Dharm, Karm and Kartavya. Your solution is to kill your father, responsible for the death of your brother and sister-in-law. Your reasoning is कि कभी कुछ सही करने के लिए सब कुछ एक बार फिर से शुरू करना पड़ता है. मैंने अपने बालक के लिए सब कुछ फिर से शुरू किया है. आपने अपना कर्म किया और मैंने निभाया अपना कर्तव्य. म्हणजे I saw the impact of regressive thought that is permeating in my household, and the only solution was to end it. End a generation in the household because they carried such venom and spread it all over, even to my child. But what about your kartavya or duty as a police officer in this town? The Anand Shri chaos with underage children continues. And not only that, the regressive and violent tendencies of the panchayat also remain active. You did the job within the confines of your household, but injustice and crime prevails in Jamli. In one instance, Saif Ali Khan said in the movie, "बालकों की बलि कब तक चलेगी?" And हरपाल के बाद आपने सिर्फ अपने बेटे के बारे में ही सोचा? Not the many kids who are going missing because of Anand Shri? The case that the journalist who died in the first scene was investigating anyway? आपने अपने घर के confines का solution ढूंढ लिया, पर जामली का क्या? ये कर्तव्य मेरे हिसाब से थोड़ा अधूरा रह गया था. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Kartavya. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.